All right, we're looking at exponent rules today. Exponent rules. Two main rules we have to look for is when I have x squared times x to the third. X squared times x to the third, this is x to the fifth. Okay? Versus x squared to the third power. Now, when I'm doing x squared to the third power, that's different than this. So that means I've got 3 of those, which means this is, I would just multiply those. 2 times 3 is 6. This is x to the 6. So we need to make sure we understand the difference between these two rules right here, because that's a big thing right there. Another rule we have is if I'm dividing, like x to the fifth divided by x squared. When I divide these, I just subtract the exponent. So this is going to be x to the third. All right, so these are our main rules that we're going to be looking at as far as exponents today. Okay. So we have a problem that we're going to be dealing with that looks kind of like this right here. You got 3m to the 5 divided by m squared n to the third. All that is squared. Okay. Well, first thing we want to do is all this inside here is squared. Let's see if anything in here simplifies first. And it does right here. See these m's? Those are like terms. So what I'm going to have, now there's no numbers that simplify, so this 3 stays. But now right here, when I divide those, 5 minus 2 would be 3. That's going to be m3. And then this n3 be down here. So these 2 cancel off 2 of those and makes it 3. So this is what I have now. So all that is squared. Okay, and nothing else simplifies inside. So now I got to square everything. So now I got to square each individual thing here. So 3 squared would be 9. M to the third squared, that's m to the third squared, and that's the rule I just talked about. 3 times 2 would be 6. That's m6. In the bottom, I got n to 3 squared. N to the 3 squared, same thing. That's going to be n to the 6. So that would be my answer right there. I can't go any further than that. Get it on the screen there. Sorry about that. Okay. Now, let's look at another one here. We got negative 4 x to the third times 2y to the negative 2 power times 5y to the fourth power times x to the negative 7. Let's multiply these together. Okay. Well, when I multiply, I can go ahead and do negative 4 times 2 times 5. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8 times 5 is negative 40. Okay. Then when I multiply my variables, well, let's do x to the 3 times x to the negative 7. I multiply those, and when I multiply those, x to the 3 times x to the negative 7, I just add these exponents up. So 3 plus negative 7 would be negative 4. Okay, then when I do my y's right here, all right, that's y to the negative 2 times y to the 4, y to the negative 2 times y to the 4. When I multiply these, I just add these exponents. So negative 2 plus 4 would be a positive 2. Okay, so that's what I get right there. Well, this negative exponent, we really don't like those. So when I have a negative exponent, that moves it to the denominator. So this negative 40 and the y squared are going to stay in the numerator. This guy's going to go down, and that turns him into a positive exponent, and that would be my answer right there. Okay. Here's another one. Suppose I have this. Negative 3a4 b3, all that's squared. I've got a to the second, b to the fifth, all that's to the third power. Okay, what am I going to get here on this? All right, well, if I look in here, there's no like terms, so this is all simplified. All this is squared. Same thing here. This is all simplified, and it's all to the third power. So what I have to do, everything in here gets squared. So negative 3 squared, negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. Okay, then I got to do a to the fourth squared. Let me do this. This is negative 3 squared. This is A4 squared. This is B3 squared. Every one of these inside gets squared. So right here, -3 squared is 9. Now, a to the 4 squared, well, I multiply these two. See, this is a to the 4th to the 2nd. So that's the two rules I was talking about. That's going to be a to the 8. And right here, this is going to be 3 times 2. That'd be b to the 6. So there's what this first term is. I'm going to do that. Now, do this to the 3rd. All right, that's going to be a squared to the 3rd, and it's going to be b to the 5th to the 3rd. Okay? So now right here, a squared to the 3rd, that's going to be a6. And then b to the 5th to the 3rd, I didn't mean to do this parenthesis. It's going to be b to the 15. 5 times 3 is 15. Okay? Now we've got these exponents gone from outside. And now I can multiply them together. So I've got 9 times, there's no number here, so that's a 1. 9 times 1 is 9. Then I got a to the 8th times a to the 6th. Well, when I multiply those, I just add exponents. It's going to be a14. And then b, when I do this, I add those. It's going to be b, 6 plus 15 is 21. And then there you go. There's my final answer right there. Okay? And remember, the exponent rules, put this back on here. When you have two variables and each one has an exponent, you add those. Versus, if you have one variable and it has 2 exponents, that's when you multiply. So these two rules right here get mixed up a lot. So you got to make sure you know the difference between those two right there. Okay? All right. Now, we'll move on to the next problem. What if I have this right here? I've got 3a to the 4th b, all that squared, divided by 24b to the 5. What does this give me right here? All right, we'll see, all this is squared, so I got to square all this. So this just over here, this is going to be 3 squared, it's going to be a4 squared, and it's going to be b squared. So all these things inside there get squared. So right here, 3 squared would be 9. A to the 4th squared, I multiply those, so that's going to be a to the 8th. And then this is going to be b to the 1 squared, so that's just b squared. Okay, on the bottom now, we didn't have anything going on there, so we just write it down. Okay? Now, my numbers here don't divide, but I tell you what, suppose this was an 8. Suppose I had 8 and that was a 24 down there. Those would divide down. You got to look for this. So like right here, 8 goes into 8 one time, 8 goes into 24 3 times. That would divide down if it was an 8. But it's not an 8, it's a 9. So these don't divide. So the 9 and the 24 stay. Okay? Now when I do my A's, all right, there's a to the 8. And that comes on down. But now right here, when I do my B's, okay, they're going to simplify. Now look here. When I subtract these, see, I subtract when I divide. And so these 2 will cancel off 2 of those and make that a 3. So that's a B3 down in the bottom. Okay, so I subtract those. Now let's look here. If I do 2 minus 5, 2 minus 5 would be -3. So it's going to be B -3, which means it goes in the bottom as a +3. And that would be my answer right there. Okay, now if you need help with that, more help, just let me know and I'll try to help you all. Here's the last one we're going to do. Okay, this is 24m -5 n to the 7 divided by 6m, okay, n to the -2 and p to the -3. Okay. All right, so in the top, I don't see anything goes together. In the bottom, I don't see anything that goes together. All right, so now just divide. So right here, 24 divided by 6. All right, these cancel down. 6 goes in 6 once. 6 goes into 24 4 times. So that's just a 4 over a 1 down there, and I probably don't have to have a 1. All right, when I do my m's, this is a 1 right here. Okay, so I'm doing -5 minus 1. See, when I divide, I subtract them. -5 minus 1, that's -6. All right, so that's negative 6, which means it's in the bottom. So it's going to be an m to the positive 6 in the bottom. Okay, now when I do my ends here, I've got 7 minus negative 2. 7 minus negative 2 is 9. So it's going to be n9 on the top. Okay, then I have this p right here. He don't have any like terms. But what I noticed, though, this is p negative 3, which means it's a negative exponent, and he's in the bottom. So that means that's going to move him up to the top. And so there's what my answer would end up being. Okay, so this is a review on exponents from Algebra 1. And if you need any help with this, you just let me know, okay? You just got to remember, though, that we have these rules. And I threw my rules somewhere. Well, oh, here they are. Here's my rules. And these right here are the ones people get mixed up all the time. You got to watch out for these right here. When you have two variables, each with an exponent, you add them. But if you have one variable with two exponents, you multiply those. That's the ones you got to watch out for. And then when you divide exponents, you subtract them. Okay? So these are exponent rules. If you need any help, just let me know anytime. All right? Have a good rest of the day.